Hi YouTube, Tim Uckert here. In this video, we are going to practice the factoring by grouping method. This is a good prerequisite skill to have when going into a pre-calculus class, and it's a good skill to practice if you're an Algebra 2 student. So let's get to it. So the first part of the method, and this is also sometimes referred to as split the middle, we'll take the coefficient in front of x squared, that's a lot of times referred to as a, and we're going to multiply it by a constant, which is a lot of times referred to as C. So I'm going to do 25 times 20. Okay, now if I want to do this quick, I can think of 2 times 25. Well, 2 times 25 is 50, and I add a 0, so I just get 500. Now what I want to do is find the factors of 500, the factor pair that adds up to 45. Okay, so let's list out some factors of 500. So we could do 5 times 100. That adds to 105. That's too much. 10 times 50. That multiplies to 500, but adds to 60. Still too much. Let's increase to 20. 20 times 25, the numbers multiplied. Well, those add to 45. So I can break this apart or rewrite this as 25 x squared plus 20x plus 25x plus 20. So, and this is why it's referred to as split the middle. If we take here this 45x, we split it into 20x and 25x, okay? From here, we want to look at the first two numbers and divide out the greatest common factor of both. So the greatest common factor of both is 5x. So I'm going to divide out 5x. And if I divide 25x squared by 5x, I get 5x. And then 20x divided by 5x is 4. Okay. The next one, we also want to divide out the greatest common factor of both these two terms, and that's going to be just 5. So if we divide 5 out, 25x divided by 5 is 5x. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Now, if you notice here, we've got the same binomial here and here. So if we were to work back from the double distribution method, I haven't made a video on that yet, but if I make one, I'll link it in the description. If we were going to work back from that, go backwards, we could rewrite this as 5x plus 5 times 5x plus 4. So we've just gone backwards from double distribution. If I were to want to check this, I can do a Punnett square, which is, or I could do FOIL or double distribution if I wanted to. I like the Punnett square, so let's just put 5x plus 5 here, and 5x plus 4 here. 5x times 5x gives me 25x squared. That checks with my first term here, so that checks. Then if I do 5x times 5, that's 25x. 5x times 4 is 20x. And then 4 times 5 is 20. So the last term, 20, that checks with this term up here. And then if I want to look at these two, these are like terms, so I would add those together. They equal 45x, which checks with this one. So we have factored this, here's our factored form, correctly. using factoring by grouping or splitting the middle, however you want to refer to it. Okay, so what I would do now at this point of the video, if you're watching, pause the next problem, try it yourself, and then watch me as I walk you through the solution. Check that you've got the same answer. Okay. All right, so this next one, we are going to use the same method. So we're going to take -4, multiply that by -9. So -4 times -9 is positive 36. Next up, we want the factors of 36 that add to -12. Well, I can quickly think if I do a negative times a negative, so -6 times -6 will give me positive 36 and add to -12. I can now split the middle and rewrite this as -4x squared minus 6x minus 6x. And instead of plus -9, I'm just going to write -9 here. It's the same thing. So now we want to take the greatest common factor of -4 x squared and -6x. That's going to be -2x. So I'm going to write -2x, and then -4x squared divided by -2x is just 2x. -6x divided by -2x is just positive 3, so 2x plus 3. Okay, and then I'm actually going to do a plus, and then so plus, and then this part. So we're going to consider the greatest common factor of -6x and -9. That's going to be -3. So we're going to do plus -3. -6x divided by -3 is 2x. -9 divided by -3 is plus 3. We go now backwards here. We have the same binomial here. So 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3. We're going to work back now, do double distribution in reverse. And so I'm going to take this and this and combine it into one binomial, which I could just write as -2x plus -3 or -2x minus 3. I think -2x minus 3 is cleaner. And then times 2x plus 3. And we've got our factored form. Now we could take this one step further. We note here -2x minus 3. You could factor out a -1 here. So I could write this as -1 times positive 2x plus 3 times positive 2x plus 3. And when I multiply something by itself, I can write that something as that something squared. So 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3, I can write this as -1 times 2x plus 3 squared. Okay? Excuse me. Oh, man. All right. So that's number 2. Hopefully you got it. Let's clear this out and move to 3 and 4. All right. In number 3, we're going to take the 12 here, multiply by -10. So we're going to do 12 times -10. That's a -120. And we want the factors of -120 that will add to -7. To get factors of a negative number, I have to, by default, multiply a positive by a negative number. So let's just start. I could do, and I want the negative number to be further away from 0 on the number line to add to a negative number here. So let's start with negative 12. If I do negative 12 times 10, well, that adds to negative 2. So not quite there. I believe, yeah, I believe if I did negative 15 times 8, that would work, and that would add to negative 7. Let's just check 15 times 8. So 8 times 5 is 40. Bring up the 4. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 120. Okay, so this here are the numbers we want to use. Okay, so let's now split the middle. So we're going to have 12x squared minus 15x plus 8x, and I'm just going to, instead of plus negative 10, I'm just going to write minus 10. Okay, looking at the first two, so 12x squared minus 15x, the greatest common factor of those is going to be a 3x. So I'm going to pull out a 3x times 12x squared divided by 3x is going to be 4x, minus 15x divided by 3x is going to be minus 5. All right, so for these next two, plus 8x minus 10, the greatest common factor is going to be a plus 2. 8x divided by 2 is 4x. Minus 10 divided by 2 is minus 5. Notice that we're always getting the same binomial here. If you're not, then you're messing up somewhere. Okay, if we work back from double distribution, we've got 3x plus 2 times 4x minus 5. Cool. And we're good with this one. All right. Let's take a look at the last one, number 4. We're going to multiply negative 10 by negative 25. So negative 10 times negative 25. It's going to be a positive 250. And we want the factors of 250 that are both negative because they have to add to this negative 35 here. So I would do, actually, I'm going to do that in blue. I would do negative 25 times negative 10. Just use the same numbers we multiply because that does work to negative 35 in this case. So let's rewrite this. So I'm going to write it as negative 10x squared minus 25x minus 10x, and then instead of plus negative 25, I'll just write minus 25. Okay. We now want to look at these first two terms and pull out the greatest common factor, which is going to be a negative 5x. So I'm going to write negative 5x, and that's going to be negative 10x squared divided by negative 5x is going to be 2x. Negative 25x divided by negative 5x is going to be plus 5x. Now we want to pull out the greatest common factor of these two. I could just, get rid of the plus negative and just write minus. Pull out a minus 5 here. Negative 10x divided by minus 5 is 2x. And I made a mistake here. When I divided negative 25x by negative 5x, I wrote positive 5x. It's just positive 5. So, if you see an error, correct yourself. Okay, negative 25 divided by negative 5 is going to be plus 5 as well. So again, and I'm checking as I go. These two match. That's good. So we're going to get negative 5x minus 5 times 2x plus 5. Now I could take this a step further and divide this by negative 1. So I could write this as negative 1 times 5x plus 5 times 2x plus 5. And there we go. There's that in factor form. You can check it with the Punnett square if you'd like. Yeah, so hopefully this video was helpful to you. Sorry about the sneezing. I think I'm getting a little bit of allergies. I do have teacher pay teacher stuff in the description if you want to support me there. Otherwise, just please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.